All right, Emily Miller of the Washington Times is with us on the program. Emily, how you doing?
I'm fine. Happy President's Day, I guess you say.
Happy President's Day. Yes, I brought the fellas the traditional President's Day gift of cheer wine and
What
diet
wine?
cheer wine soda.
I've never heard of that.
Really? Oh.
Really? What is it?
Oh, it's like it's from the South and it's good.
Oh,
It's like a
okay.
cherry cola-y thing.
So it's like
Yeah.
Coke Cherry?
No.
Oh.
No.
I'm
No,
a
but you know what? I'll
Yankee.
save some so the next time you're here in studio,
All right, that sounds good.
that'll be your refreshment. All right, so well, we've been talking about all of the gun control bills that are being pushed, and in fact, right now, Colorado's House of Representatives voting on more gun control legislation. You point out that there are actually moves to strengthen the Second Amendment and expand right to carry, right?
That's right. I mean, I assumed that, all the Second Amendment advocates in Congress, which is a majority of the House, of course, and possibly a majority of the Senate, would sort of go under a rock with this assault from the White House on gun rights. But it's not true, and they're really starting to sort of percolate back into the things that were priorities of gun owners in the last Congress. And one of those things is the concealed carry permit reciprocity idea, which, as you remember, in 2001 passed the House, and Senator Reid refused to have a vote on it in the Senate. But basically what it would do is that any place that you have a concealed carry permit, or in the states where you don't have to have a permit, like Arizona, Vermont, et cetera, you don't need a permit, your permission would be applicable in another state that also allows carry, which is all the states now, except for D.C., which is not a state.
And Illinois, technically. Well, I mean, the Seventh
yet.
Circuit, I know, but hopefully soon.
We should explain that. So the Seventh Circuit recently overturned the Illinois ban on carry laws and gave the state legislature 180 days to rewrite their laws to allow permits. Now, of course, the state legislature hasn't done it yet, but they are under this mandate from the court to do it by this summer. So we'll see how that turns out, if it's a May issue state or, they make it so complicated nobody can get a permit. But technically, it is going to soon be allowed to carry laws in Illinois, leaving my hometown of the District of Columbia the only place in the country where you can't carry. And so people need to know that. And, there's carry permits around the country has expanded enormously in recent years, and it's a good thing. It's really helping to deter criminals. But people get nervous about, when they're going between states, how this works. Does my permit apply? And, those are people who have these permits know it's the most complicated system. I mean, some states only allow you to carry in their state with their own state's permit. Some states like Florida issue permits even if you don't live there that you can use in other states. So it's a very complicated thing. And Congressman Stutzman of Indiana has put forward a new bill which would allow anyone who has a right to carry in their current state to carry in another state that allows carry, which is everywhere, and sort of just evens it out so it's kind of like a driver's license. Like if you can drive in Wyoming, you can drive in Texas on the same license. And so he introduced that last week and is already picking up support. The NRA supports it, and he's got a bunch of already co-sponsors. And so it's just, I think, one of those things that's really important to see that it is coming back and people aren't hiding in Congress out of fear of the kind of backlash from this White House.
Well, absolutely. And look, I've been saying this all along. I mean, this is part of the PR campaign from President Obama. He was very explicit in his State of the Union address. He said, this time it's different. This time there's support for these measures. And the not so hidden subtext is politicians. It's okay. You can vote for these gun control measures and you're still going to get reelected.
Right.
And I think that there are a lot of politicians who understand that, no, this time it's not different. You said it was going to be different. You said it was going to be about our kids, and then you turned around and you made it about these same gun control bills that they've been pushing for over a decade now in some of these cases. So no, it's not different. And the American people's attitude towards gun control is generally not different, despite the media tidal wave of stories that are designed to get us to hate guns and gun owners and the NRA these days.
Well, Obama, says it as a matter of fact, and Dianne Feinstein and all his allies say it as a matter of fact, like you said, this is different, this is times have changed. And it is slightly effective with the public. I mean, we've seen an increase in poll numbers of people supporting the so-called assault weapons ban and this, quote, universal background check, because there's this bully pulpit in the White House, and they say things as facts, that this is different. They don't get into the real story, which is what is the assault weapons ban? What does it exactly ban? Is it effective? Does it prevent mass shootings? Does it prevent crime? They don't get into that. They sort of make these dictates and stick with them, and that's what you saw Obama do in Chicago in his hometown on Friday. Just dictate, we need a vote, and not and sort of talk about that teenager Hadia who was killed in Chicago, and he talks about Newtown, and he expects the public to associate a teenager being killed in Chicago, 20 children being killed in Newtown, with some vote in Congress that's going to prevent and stop all of this. It's an effective PR maneuver. I mean, it is effective, but I don't think that is going to translate into Congress and members of Congress who know the facts and know what's going on and understand this legislation into changing their positions and voting for things that make no sense.
Well, I have no faith that members of Congress won't vote for things that make no sense, unfortunately.
Maybe I should, or I should say we'll vote for things that infringe on the Second Amendment.
Well, that's the thing. And again, I think, honestly, when Vice President Biden himself says, look, nothing we're doing here is fundamentally going to alter the ability for people to carry out these attacks, and we can't say if we pass these bills that, they're going to be X fewer deaths. We can't do these sorts of things. And the president then goes on this, very sermon-esque response during the State of the Union address of, we need to vote on these things. We need to vote on these things. Look, I think a lot of people, what you see in the polls, you see support for things like the idea of universal background checks. And then you ask, okay, how big a priority should this be? What should the priority be? And it's near the bottom of the list because people have been told, okay, it's right and proper to support this thing. But do they really think it's going to work? No, they don't. They want President Obama to actually do something about the economy.
That's true, but I think, with this concealed carry law, I think this is really important to a lot of gun owners, and you're going to see a lot of support for their members to co-sponsor this, to get the leadership to be really brave and put this on the floor, because, as I said, the percentage of people with carry rights, and as there's states with the rights have gone up by 21 in the past 20 years, and it's such a deterrent for crime. This is something that people can do that actually will reduce crime. Instead of this debate over stupid things like assault weapons ban, have a debate on something that we know is proven to reduce crime, which is the deterrent of whether somebody has a gun. And we've seen, and if you even talk about mass shootings, which are so rare, but even if we are going to talk about them, they all of them the recent year, Wisconsin, Newtown, they all took place in gun-free zones because these criminals are cowards and they're not going to go in a place where they know somebody could be using a weapon legally and could shoot back at them. So that's why I think this is so important. And, I think Mr. Sussman shows a lot of political courage in doing it in this environment. And let's hope to see that, the leadership has similar courage in getting it to the floor.
Well, we will see. Emily, thank you again for coming on the program this afternoon. Always a pleasure talking to you. And
thank you.
We didn't even conflict with The Bachelor this time.
That's right. And tonight is hometown dates, which I'm very excited about.
Ooh, Downton Abbey?
I know. I'm so sad. Cousin Matthew. I shouldn't spoil anyone who hasn't watched it. Cousin Matthew. It's devastating.
It is, truly. Emily, thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll talk again soon.